Listen to your favorite shows live and on demand 24/7. Download the 77 WABC mobile app now.
Right on the line right now, probably from parts unknown or maybe even from southern Florida, Roger Stone, who is featured on the Stone Zone every Sunday from 4 to 6.
No, it's from 3 to 6 now.
Wow.
Don't forget, Lou Dobbs, who
That's
we
right.
all loved, passed
right.
away, and Roger has filled the slot.
Great.
Curtis, I'm the hardest working man in show business.
No.
But he goes to church first on Sunday morning. I have the photograph.
So it's 3 to 6 now, and if you haven't heard Roger Stone here on WABC, because he's been on, let's face it, the guy has been in all kinds of broadcasts over the year. You got to go to WABCRadio.com for the podcast.
We're in 170 countries on your iPhone. What is it, at 77 WABC?
So, Roger, we've had a discussion today. George V., former director FBI New York, John Catsimatidis, and yours truly. The fear that I have, I think John has it also, George to a degree, is that they're going to try to assassinate Donald Trump again before this is all said and done on November 5th. What are your feelings?
I share your concern. First of all, Jesse Waters had a whistleblower from the FBI, someone that he tells us he very carefully vetted, and I believe him, who made exactly that prediction. Also, strangely enough, many people think that this is foreseen in the Bible, specifically in Samuel 1, 15 and 16, chapters 15 and 16, the tale of two kings, in this instance, King Saul representing Biden, King David representing Trump. Saul tried 3 times to kill David. He was unsuccessful. Many Christians believe that this is, an allegory for what is happening today. I'm very concerned about it. I think the president should be very concerned about it. Beefing up his Secret Service detail is not enough if they're not trustworthy. I think here are the 2 facts. We now know definitively that the Secret Service, the Pennsylvania State Police, and the local police knew that the shooter was on the scene with a gun and had been seen with a rangefinder, using a rangefinder, for 92 minutes. And Donald Trump was not evacuated from the site, nor was he even told. That's a violation of the Secret Service Manual of Regulations and Protocol. And then secondarily, we are told that the counter sniper had the shooter in his sights, but he waited until after he got off a volley of shots to kill him rather than taking him out preemptively, which, again, is what the Secret Service Manual of Protocol and Regulations requires. Those are very troubling things because that goes to decision-making and who made that decision, those decisions. It's deeply disturbing. This is something I pray about every night. I'm very concerned for the president's safety.
What I don't understand, Roger Stone, is we've heard from people who weren't there, the former Secret Service director who chose not to go to the location or to speak to anybody involved for 72 hours. Ray didn't go there. Then we saw the acting director of Secret Service and the assistant FBI director testify. We have not heard from the man or the woman who was in charge of the Secret Service unit at Butler County cow field where the rally took place. Why has that person not been subpoenaed before either the House or the Senate to describe what they knew, what they did, and what they were responsible for?
Curtis, I'm not even sure that the Bureau has identified that individual. I mean, the deputy director who testified yesterday, we've already found a number of discrepancies in his testimony. I fear, in the end, this is going to be very much like the Kennedy assassination, where all this time later, we're still debating and arguing about was it Lee Harvey Oswald? Did he act alone? I mean, Americans are unsure. It's an open question in the minds of many people. I think in the end, we're going to end up in the same place, meaning you can't trust the government to investigate actions by the government. That's not reasonable. I wouldn't trust either the FBI or the Secret Service at this point to investigate themselves. So you need a truly independent investigation. The House Republicans, at least theoretically, could do that. But whether they have the political will to do it still remains to be seen. I mean, as long as, and I hope this is untrue, I'm told that among the Democrats who would serve on this investigative panel would be Congressman Dan Goldman. Now, he said just days before Trump was shot at that Donald Trump should be, quote, eliminated, close quote. I think his being on the committee would be extremely inappropriate.
Sure, and your contention is, as we continue to debate who is it that shot JFK, that really the fingerprints are LBJ. Your book goes into great detail on that.
Janine Pirro here for Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals Group helps Americans protect their future with the most trusted store of wealth in human history. Physical gold and silver. If you're retiring or retired, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Pirro for your free Janine Pirro Colonial Metals Group Retirement Protection Kit, or call 800-965-8004. 800-965-8004 now to receive a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver.
Yeah, basically what I put forward is the idea that, yes, there was a conspiracy. The CIA is heavily involved, as is organized crime, the mob, as is Big Texas Oil, as is some of the international banking interests. But the man at the centerpiece of this plot, the man with the most to gain, cui bono, as they say in Latin, who benefits, but also the most to lose. LBJ was under investigation for corruption in the Billy Sal Estes and Bobby Baker scandals, huge scandals of the day. By the way, neither one mentioned in Robert Caro's celebrated books on LBJ. I'm not sure how he missed that. That is my contention, that Johnson has a unique relationship with each one of them, and I use fingerprint evidence, eyewitness evidence, and deep Texas politics to make a compelling case that, yes, there was a conspiracy, but, yes, LBJ was at the center of it.
And, you know, I said as a kid, and I'm sure, Roger, you grew up in Connecticut. You may have seen it, John, George V. We saw the black and white film live of Lee Harvey Oswald being escorted in the bowels of the Dallas Police Department headquarters with, the cop with the 10-gallon white hat on. And then all of a sudden, we get this guy who emerges with a gun. We find out it's Jack Ruby, who shoots him multiple times in the stomach. Oswald eventually dies. And nobody ever bought that. Nobody. So how the hell did he get into the police headquarters? How the hell did he get that close to a guy that you're claiming shot the lone gunman theory, JFK?
It's interesting, Curtis, that if you go on YouTube, you can easily find this. There is subsequent footage of Jack Ruby. Ruby's in handcuffs, being led down a hallway by a Texas police officer, and reporters are shouting questions. The reporter yells, Jack, how could this happen? Who would shoot our president? And Ruby says, look at the top, the man at the very top. They say, Jack, what do you mean? Ruby says, let me put it this way. If Adlai Stevenson had been vice president, this never would have happened. There it is, right there.
LBJ. I think LBJ, nothing happened in Dallas. I understand. I read a lot. Nothing happened. Nobody would take a crap in Dallas without permission of LBJ. And that was the big story. And, we'll never know. I don't think we're ever going to know.
Well, it's absolutely true, John, that he completely dominated the Dallas County Sheriff's Department, the Dallas Police Department, and, of course, the mayor of Dallas, Earl Cable, was a crony of Johnson. His brother, Charles Cable, number 2 man at the CIA, who had been fired by JFK over the botched Bay of Pigs invasion. It was Charles Cable who canceled the 29 Panamanian flag bombers that were supposed to fly out of Panama to protect the men storming the beaches in Cuba during the Bay of Pigs invasion.
And I understand when President Trump was going to release the Warren Papers, he did not release them, and his comment was, there's one person that's still alive.
Yeah, that's correct. He released about 80% of the material that was scheduled for release. He held back about 20%. When I asked him why, he told me that Mike Pompeo, the CIA director, had convinced him that it would expose the agency's sources and methods. Well, the sources makes no sense because nobody would still be alive. And
the person that was still alive, Roger, the person that was still alive used to be with the CIA.
There you go. I mean, I guess the real point is if the government's involved in the murder of a president, shouldn't we know that method? I think we should know that. Anyway, President Biden also, he was next up at bat. He also withheld about 20% of the documents. So there's still a lot of classified material regarding the Kennedy assassination that the American people still haven't been allowed to see.
So we were told after the JFK assassination that the Secret Service would be reworked, that to the best of our ability, we would make sure that this never happened again. It happened with Reagan. Clearly, there have been other instances where attempts were either in the process of taking place or just they failed to take place. But this, the most egregious, that Calfield in Butler County. If you had to make a wage, Roger Stone, who's responsible for this?
I think you have to blame the current administration. There's too many failures here. It's not just that one or two things were done wrong. I mean, this man was seen. They knew he was there. You've seen the footage yourself of just average citizens saying, "Look up there on the roof, the man with the gun." I mean, it's not complicated. You have to wonder how you could have these many failures. Therefore, I reached the sad conclusion that this was willful, that they tried to bankrupt him, then they tried to jail him. First, they tried to impeach him. Now, sadly, they have tried to kill him. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy realist. But too many anomalies.
Very sad.
Too many mistakes.
Very sad.
Now, Roger, who do you have this Sunday, 3 to 6, additional hour, 3 to 6 on the Stone Zone?
In all honesty, I'm still waiting for callbacks, so I cannot tell you. But we're going to have a vigorous discussion of what we learned about the assassination. We're also going to talk about the rise of Kamala Harris, what the polls are showing, maybe a longer-term outlook for the next 90 days. I think this is going to be a very tough-fought, very close election. Republicans or Trump supporters who think this is in the bag or a sure thing or anything like that, I think are completely wrong. So we're going to, and then of course we'll talk about food as we always do. It's going to be a great show.
Roger, I'll be listening, and thank you for coming on, and you do a great job. You really care about delivering all the information to the people.
I appreciate it, John. Great to be with you guys. Have a great morning.
You too.
Janine Pirro here for Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals Group helps Americans protect their future with the most trusted store of wealth in human history, physical gold and silver. If you're retiring or retired, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Pirro for your free Janine Pirro Colonial Metals Group Retirement Protection Kit, or call 800-965-8004. 800-965-8004 now to receive a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver.